Every year subsequent to the budget process, and in support of the budget process, we have a fee resolution that requires a public hearing. I'll try to keep this short, within 50 or 60 minutes.
Keep telling them you have a sense of humor, Don.
My watch works.
Oh, I multiplied it by 10, I'm sorry. 4 to 5 minutes. The fee resolution is comprised of community development fees. It's comprised of engineering fees, parks and recreation fees, water, sewer, sanitation, farmers market, general fees, administrative fees such as public safety fees such as taxi cabs or fingerprinting and things of that nature. It was also published in the newspaper and advertising what those fees might include, and some of the things I just mentioned. So the fees for, and I'm just going to go through memory because I got it pretty well memorized. The fees for community development, for the most part, like in plumbing and electrical, didn't go up a whole at all, except for a few minor tweaks. And a lot of the other kinds of fees, building fees, are based upon the annual construction book that they publish each year. And then there are other fees, that community development fees, that have gone up about 4%. Most of them 4.25% to 5%. The engineering fees have averaged anywhere from 5 to 6%. The water and sewer I'll get to in just a minute because Gary covered a great deal of it, and it's a little bit more complicated than just talking about water in general because there's so many different dynamics to it. So I'll come back to that one. The sanitation fund, we adjusted those fees just a few months ago, so there will be no fee increases except for the fees that we're contractually passing through, like the transfer fees, tipping fees. When you go across the scales, you weigh your material, and then you pay accordingly. Well, that's going to go up about 2.1%. The coming back full circle to water and sewer, I think that's probably the biggest change in fees. It's a 2-year phase-in because we did some things for both on the water side for the cemetery and then on the sewer side for the University of Idaho that impacted all the other classifications. So in the water fund, the rate increase will be for residential about 6.85% overall. But however, the way the rate committee had determined, and City Council also through a workshop, changed the dynamics of it by increasing the base fees and leaving the volume fee alone on the residential. But in order to make the meter size uniform for both commercial and residential, because they're all the same meter, a 5/8 meter for a residential is the same 5/8 meter that works for a commercial meter, needed to be priced the same. So that rate change was 14.53% for both water, or for both residential and commercial. But on the residential side, there was no increase for the tiered rates, and that overall impact was a 6.85%. And they use averages, okay? So if you use more water, then that rate, your actual bill might decrease over that because the volume piece doesn't go up as much. On the commercial side, the overall rate increase was about 11%. And again, to adjust to get to that, or excuse me, the net effect of those two is an overall water rate adjustment of 10%. But the commercial rate for volume is up 11.91%. So that covers the water side. On the commercial side, or sewer side, the overall rate adjustment is 6.4%, and it ranges from residential at 4.4% to commercial at 18.8%, and University of Idaho is at 13.54%, and restaurants at 39.32%. And that, again, we're going to see that again next year as well on the 2015 budget. because of the phase-in over a 2-year time frame. There's going to be a lot of material being advertised about the water and sewer over the next few months. Farmers market seasonal fees went up 7.7%, and even though it sounds like a large percent, it only generates $1,900 in revenue based on our estimates for the year. That's to help overcome some of the expenses that Gary had talked about in some of the miscellaneous funds, which has been increased over the last several years. I already covered engineering and some of the other fees, unless there's a specific thing. This has been advertised, and I don't know if it's on the web. Is it, Stephanie? Has the sample? I know it's in the packet, and it's also been advertised on the web through the packet. So, anyway, if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those as they come up.
Okay. Thank you, Don. I also want to note that we had citizens on the rate committee looking at this. So these were, the consumers, the business owners.
Yeah, the way that was designed, and thank you for bringing that up, Nancy, is that the rate committee we started the rate study in 2010, and then the rate committee is made up of members of the different groups of folks that they represent. Like, we had a restaurant member, we had a person that represented commercial, we had a residential, we had multifamily residential. Palouse Properties, I think, was recognized for multifamily. We also the cemetery was on board for the water and sewer. There's my point is that we try to represent each of the classifications. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone have questions for Don or comments? Thank you, Don. Well done. And you and your crew there in the finance office do great work. Thanks. Gary, anything you'd like to add to that before we open the public hearing?
Oh, ma'am, I appreciate Don's brevity.
Fast hour, Don.
Yeah, because he dropped his plate.
Made you look bad.
Award-winning, Don. That's right, exactly.
The award-winning
okay.
Don.
Okay. So this, as I mentioned at the outset, will be a public hearing pertaining to the fiscal year 2014 fee adjustments in support of operations for the City of Moscow during the fiscal year of 2013-14, the budget that the City Council just approved. And as I mentioned previously, it's difficult to be entirely for or entirely against this, so I will just invite your general comments about areas of this fee resolution that are of particular interest to you and your counterparts. With that, I'll open the public hearing and invite people's testimony. I'd have you come and state your name and address for our record, please.
Good evening. I'm still Linda Paul. I still reside most of the time at 304 East A. I was chewing on the ear of Don, asking what was the outcome of the Farmers Market Commission recommendation to reduce the increase or reduce the level of walk-on fees for the farmers market, because it's become a real issue and it's discouraging growth of the market in the walk-on areas. It's now 40. The Commission recommended 30. Could you tell us what that is, and if it's not changed, would you change it tonight? Thank you.
Thank you. We are anticipating some written input from the Moscow Farmers Market Commission. And Walter, we're in the midst of the hearing. Do you have something to clarify to that?
Just a comment from Ms. Paul. Linda, we didn't receive the commission recommendation until 5 minutes to 7 this evening, so nothing's been done on it.
Well, we're anticipating some input tonight. I also want to acknowledge receipt of an email at 4:17 this evening from Betta Bunzel, who and I can just, it's a brief one, I'll read for the record. She says, "Greetings. In lieu of attendance this evening, I hope it's possible to express my support via email for the Commission's position regarding prices at Farmers Market 2014 season. I have been a produce vendor for over a span of approximately 14 years. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Betta Bunzel, B-U-N-Z-E-L." And I know we also received at least one other letter that I saw this afternoon, and that's from,
It's from Julene Ewert.
and has the council seen that yet? Council members, are you familiar with that?
Sent out.
Got the email.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to read it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And if I may.
Please.
It wasn't just Julene Ewert, it was Alicia Bardellis Cunningham, Janice Wiesner, and many other silent vendors.
And the gist of that for our public of interest?
Essentially, it is requesting alteration or reduction of the walk-on vendors. They indicate, or these folks indicate that if they were to participate, one of them were to participate every weekend in the market at walk-on rates, it would cost them $1,040, while a season vendor is charged $275 for the same time, creating a 375% difference in fees.
Okay. And did staff receive any other input pertaining to tonight's fee resolution hearing?
I think there was there was an email sent around by Tom LaPointe, I think, that the council received.
Okay, very good. Okay. Other testimony, please. Identify yourself at the lectern with your name and address and affiliation if you're representing a group.
Erin Carroll, residing at 918 Camas Street, and the floor has already been prepped by Linda Paul in the letters that you just announced. I'm the sitting chair for the Farmers Market Commission, formally presenting the Commission's recommendations that you see before you, and I apologize for getting them late. We plan to be here with a couple other Commission members and our Arts Director, Kathleen, to take comment and discussion and questions about our recommendations. I want to thank you for setting aside time to hear and discuss these recommendations. The Farmers Market Commission is new. However, it was created to make recommendations to the City Council with patrons, vendors, the city, and the entire community in mind. These recommendations, we think, reflect that charge. So the Commission has voted on and approved 3 recommendations, all regarding line items on page 28 and 29 of the fee proposal under the Moscow Arts Commission. The first recommendation of the Commission, as mentioned previously, is that the walk-on vendor fees for the 2014 season be reduced to $30 for a full space rather than $40. This fee addressed in Section B, Line 2. It has been brought to the attention of vendors, city employees, patrons of the market that the walk-on fee is too high and limiting participation of walk-on vendors. Walk-on vendors add variety and diversity to our market, and the ability to walk on allows our vendors the opportunity to test our market, to test new goods and see what sells here. At $40, the margin of profit is greatly minimized for our vendors, specifically the small local businesses and vendors our market and patrons enjoy the most. We believe this recommendation may have neutral or even positive impacts on the revenue of the market, as we feel the reduction of costs will actually encourage more vendors to participate. The next recommendation you see before you.
Yeah. Take a question? Maybe.
Sure. Go ahead, sure.
You said page 28 and 29, and I don't show the 40 to be a change, Gary or Don. I show it unchanged.
It's not changed.
So it is not being increased what's before us. You're wanting it reduced
That
from
is
what
true.
it has been.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize for any miscommunication. We do want it reduced. The feedback that we've received is that it is limiting, that it's too high, and a reduction of cost we think will get more walk-on vendors to the market.